forward to painting this painting with you today. It's so much fun. It's snowy road with the red truck with the trees in the back, all ready for Christmas. Let's get started. I've got this wonderful brush. I love these brushes. They're little square brushes that I get at Amazon. And I'm gonna use that. We're gonna start working on the background. We're gonna do the sky first, and it's a blue. It's just a true blue and baby blue, and I do like to use that for skies. It's a pretty color. So we're gonna paint this quickly with this brush. This brush tends to have a lot of coverage, which is wonderful. Now, I am right-handed, so I start on the left-hand corner. If you are left-handed, you might want to start on this corner. It just allows you to put your hand on the canvas when you're painting without worrying about getting paint all over you, although I already have paint on my hand. It's just part of the job. All right, I'm just coming in with blue. It's a cloudy sky day with snow, but this blue adds a little sunshine on a snowy day. So I just like to use it. You could use gray in the sky to make it a little darker if you'd like, but I'm not going to. We're just driving through the mountains here with our Christmas tree. If your kids are home, if you've got kids and they're home from school for the week, you might want to paint this with them. I'm using an 11 by 14 canvas right now, but many times I'll use an 8 by 10. And I printed out on my printer, I printed the template. And what I did was I did 2 8 by 10s to make an 11 by 14 picture that I could trace. Okay, that's that. And now we're gonna work on the truck, and it's red. I'm gonna use the same brush. I love this brush. So I'm going to use this brush to paint the truck red. You can use a round brush if you'd like. I go like this. So I just have it go around. We're gonna put some snow on the top of the truck so you don't have to worry about it being perfectly flush with the sky. Just going to put some red in here. Do you see how I'm moving the brush? So the edge of the brush is making the line for me. So I make sure I have paint on that edge of the brush so that it comes around. Like that. And we have lights there. Now I kind of covered up the light, so I'm just going to make it a little smaller. With red, you many times need to come back for a second or even a third coat, but you let it dry first and then just come back. Okay, there's that. Okay, next I'm using gray, and we're gonna work with gray and white, and we're gonna be painting the road, and there's a lot of snow on the road. I'm gonna add some white paint to my palette. And I tend to use snow. That's my white color. So let's start with the white. And we'll just start painting white here on the canvas. I don't know if you can see it. I'm just putting a bunch of white once again. I'm just using the same brush. And then so let me put a lot more white here. Now what I'm going to do is start adding a little gray to this white. Just a tiny bit. Now I did put a tiny touch of blue in there because it's reflecting the light from the sky. And snow tends to reflect. So I just think it looks a little prettier than just gray. But you can just do gray if you'd like. There's a little bit of shadows from the truck. So I'm making it a little darker where the shadows would be, okay? I'm going to clean off my brush, go back to the white. And now the road is going to be gray. We're just going to come this way. That way. If you notice, I'm moving the brush the way the road would be moving. Instead of going horizontally, I'm going vertically. And I just find that if I brush in the direction of the object that I'm painting, it looks better. And you'll notice that when I paint the trees, I paint them to go in the direction that the tree branches would be going. Okay, so there's the road. We can do this one over a little more. There, so that's the road. It's time to paint the trees. I have two colors of green. I've got a forest green and I have a holly green. And what I'm going to do is start painting the trees with the forest green, the darker green. Once again, I'm using this brush. You don't have to. If you have a round brush you'd prefer, use that one. I'm just using it because I like it. We're just going to be painting the under painting of the trees, dark green. And like I said, I'm just taking the brush and going the way I would, the branches of the tree would be. And I went over my template, but that's okay. No one says I have to stay in the lines. It's my painting. Don't worry about following your template perfectly. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of like a guide for you, but it's not like when you were little and you had to color in the lines. Okay. Love this brush. It just works really well. And they're very inexpensive. I think I get about 50 of them for $10. And then when I teach the kids paint parties and they break my brush, I don't feel bad. It's like, that's okay, I'll give you another one. I kind of like it. I got a little bit of the blue in here for these trees, which is fine because they're actually farther away. And when things are farther away, they get a little bit of a blue tone to them. So it's kind of cool. So you can justify anything that happens in your painting. Okay, let's be a little careful here. I'm going to go slow right there. And this is a fence. So I'm going to be careful there. And that's just the under painting that we've got. I've got to put a little more of my dark green on my palette because I used more than I thought I would. And I'm going to paint this tree now. Now I did say I usually start on this side and move that way, and I didn't do that, did I? That's all right. One thing about acrylic, before you come back with a second color on top, you try to make sure the other color that you put down is dry. Unless you want them to blend, and blending with acrylics is always fun. Okay, so we're getting this done here. I'm going to be careful here. Come around the car. Right. And this tree is coming all the way down to the road. Okay, so we've got, okay, now we're gonna add second coat of red on the truck. I've got the round brush this time, and I'm going to be adding red. And while that red paint is wet on there, I'm gonna add a little bit of black. But instead of just going straight to black, this is what I'm gonna do. Dot of black next to my red, and I'm gonna pull the red on there so that I have a color that's not really black, it's more of like a maroon. Because I want to add a little darkness to this, but not too dark, okay? Just to show it's an older truck. Just a little bit of black there. Wipe that off and do it again. Once again, just a little bit of the black. And what I want to do is put, there were some lines here on the truck to show that there's like a back panel. So I'm putting that there. And then we're adding a little of the black here and along this side. And then I'm going to add more red. You see how it blended with the black, so it doesn't look like a sharp line. That's what I wanted. I didn't want it looking really, really sharp. I'm going to clean my brush, dry it really well, and get just the red paint. And we're just adding some red in here. It is still mixing with the black a little, which is fine. I like the look of it. I like it better than just bright red. I'm just making these a little smaller. Okay, there's the truck. Next we're going to use black. I'm going to use a small brush. It is a size 8. And I've got black paint, just pure black. And we're going to paint inside the window here of the truck. And we've got to paint the tires. If you have the bigger brush or the square one, you can use it. I'm just using the small one just to show you how it works. I don't use the small one too often because you're forever dipping it back in paint. I like them when they keep a lot of paint on them. That's the front tire. This is just the under part of the truck. What is it, the axle? Is that what they call it? Okay, now we've got this. And the front tire. Oh no, did you see what I did? Okay, I'm taking a clean brush and I'm going to get this up. Clean it. See, mistakes get made, but we have to figure out how to clean them off. Clean brush and just keep cleaning your brush. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to take a clean paper towel. And I'm going to try to just dry that off. And then I'll cover it with white. Okay, clean off my brush, and I should be more careful. Accidents happen, let me tell you, they happen all the time. So it's just a matter of figuring out how to fix it right away. All right. I'd rather show you when I do something that's silly like that, that happens, and how to fix it, than just edit so it's perfect. So I like to know how to fix things when accidents happen, little accidents. Happy little accidents, as Bob Ross would say. Okay, there we go. So we've got the black done. Now we're gonna paint the fence, and I've got some burnt sienna. Putting that on my palette, not much, small brush. So it's a little burnt sienna color. And I'm going to be very careful. I actually am putting my hand down on the table so I can paint a straight line, because this fence is going up here. And I don't want it to be too crooked, but you know, the older fences do tend to be crooked as you're driving along in the mountain. So you don't have to worry about it too much. And then we've got the fence pickets here. And that's our fence. Okay, next let's add some yellow to the lights. Cleaned off the brush. I got my bright yellow, and I'm putting yellow in here for my lights. Here. All right, next we're just going to be working on the snow. Now we're working on the snow, and I like to use the big brush. I'm going to be adding dots of snow coming down from the sky. All different sizes. And it's going to go on the trees, but I'm going to wait because they need to dry a little. The snow will collect on the truck as it's driving along. And it will collect a little here along the window edge of the truck. I'm using the very point of the brush. And we're going to have a little snow along here. And we have a lot of snow. I'm actually going to put more white paint on my palette because I want to get a lot of white paint on my brush so I can have fun putting snow here. Okay. Now the snow does have some shadows in it. So I have white paint, but I'm going to add a little touch of gray so I can put some shadows. So it doesn't just look white, because you know snow's got a little bit of shadows to it depending on how it falls. So I've got some gray in there. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I've got a little bit of gray on the brush. Remember I did the black mark there? It doesn't matter because I'm adding gray to the white snow. Everything works out. And we've got snow coming here. A little bit of gray. When I say a little bit of gray, all I'm doing is just tapping the gray. So I just have a little bit on the brush with the white. And I'm going to put some white lines on the ground, on the road. And we've got some white lines on the tires. A little more paint, some white from the snow. Once again, I'm going to clean off my brush, make sure I got white. I need white lines here. And a few white lines here. And here. On those tires. And I'd say the snow is probably collecting around the tire as it's driving. I'm going to put some snow around here. And we've got snow hitting the trees. We got snow coming down here, hitting the truck. Snow on the trees. It's amazing what white does to a painting. It really brightens it up. I like to always add highlights. If it's not snow, there's highlights. Okay, whoa, that's okay. It's a big thing of snow there. All right, and then a few highlights on the truck. We're just gonna add a little line here. Highlight there, a little highlight there, and here. And here. And I think we're done. I hope you had fun painting that.